It doesn't happen often, but it is happening today. The past, the present, the future will all converge. And when they converge, what happens? Is there an explosion? We're about to find out on the DLLS Rangers podcast. Hey, it's time to talk ball, y'all. Baseball, that is, as we bring you the DLLS Rangers podcast, and there is so much to talk about. As I mentioned in the cold open, it is a very unique day. We're talking past, we're talking present, we're talking future of your Texas Rangers, and I will do that with the help of Abby Jones. She's sitting here to my right, and Jeff Wilson is to her right. He's really the star of the program. We're so glad you're along. Look, here's one of the things we want to get to, and this is about the future. What should Wyatt Langford's nickname be? Join us, right? Chat with us and give us some suggestions. Right. We've got a list coming up a little later on in the show. We want you to weigh in, please, and let us know what you think Wyatt's nickname should be. It just seems like, Abby, it seems like a name that is prime for a nickname.
And he does stuff that he should have a nickname.
Yeah.
Like big guys should have a nickname.
Well, and Jeff, back in the day, everybody had a nickname.
Everyone.
I mean, you think all the way back, everybody was Muddy Joe and, Shoeless Joe and, One Finger Dude and, they all had nicknames.
Oh, Boach just has like a Oli on the end of the name or a TY.
You know, but Wyatt, there aren't a lot of Wyatts out there. So Wyatt could just stand alone.
It could.
Oh, Wyatt, they're not like they don't call him Langy.
Now, you do have to remember the one thing in this town in particular. There's a pretty famous Wyatt that plays at the American Airlines Center too, so that could get confusing, especially here when our DLLS Stars crew is in here. Which Wyatt, right? They're both young and they're both studs, but we believe this Wyatt Langford, should have a nickname. He was a hero again last night. We'll talk a lot more about last night's game, and we will talk about the future for him and so many others of these young Rangers players. Last night, Jeff, we saw a very unique game in that the Rangers beat the Yankees without Marcus Semien and Corey Seager. Now, sometimes lineup changes are forced. Corey Seager had to go on the IL yesterday, and sometimes they are forced upon a player, which sounds like is what happened to Marcus Semien. He never wants to not play, and Boach said, hey, it's time. Let's just give him a rest, a day of rest. It's only the third time that's happened this year, but Boach was quoted as saying, he was pretty grumpy all day. Yeah. He doesn't like not playing. It did open a door, though, for Ezekiel Duran.
Yeah, and, the Rangers need to know more about these guys. They need to know more about Duran, who they thought they had a good feel about last year when he filled in so well for Corey Seager. They really need to know about Jonathan Ornelas, Sandro Fabian, who they called up. And then I think a couple other guys are going to get called up at some point. This is going to be rotating these spots. I think Dustin Harris has a chance to a comment we just got. And then so does Blaine Krim. So the Rangers need to figure these guys out. They're working on a short budget, potentially next year if the TV situation influx and Ray Davis worth $3.1 billion, not wanting to spend out of his own pocket too much. So you need to figure out if Sandro Fabian can be a platoon partner with Leody Taveras and make an affordable player in that spot. Does it do does Ezekiel Duran get traded in the offseason, or Josh Smith get traded in the offseason? You never know what's going to happen, what deals will come together. So you need to know, can Jonathan Ornelas be a utility infielder? Because he's great defensively.
Mm-hmm.
He's fantastic. Can he hit? We just had him on the Rangers weekly podcast. Super guy, great teammate, a guy you want on your team. You just need to find spots for all these guys. If first base is going to be in flux, can Duran play it? Can Foscue play it? Can Blaine Crim play it? So there are questions that need to be answered here, and unfortunately it's going to be at the expense of Nathaniel Lowe getting days off that he normally wouldn't have. Same with Marcus Semien, although I wouldn't expect too many of them. So it's just going to be the manager's job, Bruce Bochy's job, to find playing time for all of these guys.
He's good at that.
He is.
You know, he really is. I mean, last year it was like the challenge was that everybody was, especially, you know, at certain stretches early in the year, especially, everybody was so good. How can I get everybody an opportunity, get everybody their reps? And Boch figured out a way to do that.
He did, but then he had to start leaning on the guys, and that cost Duran playing time. And then when Josh Young was hurt and Duran had to play again, he had to kind of start over. He had lost his timing at the plate, and so it was these young guys, especially we've talked about it before, have to play. You know, they have to get reps. They'd be better off, honestly, at AAA if they're not playing but once a week here in the major leagues, because they can soak up all watch and try to learn, but until you put it to practice, it's not going to happen. So it's not the end of the world. You know, the Rangers are already looking to 25. In Semien and Seager's cases, they still have multiple years left on their contracts. So if they want to not go through this next year, you know, take care of the rest of this season and look ahead to 25.
All right, so let's speak about what we know. We know as long as Josh Young is healthy, he'll be the third baseman.
Correct.
Right. Obviously, we know the shortstop and we know the second baseman. You know, for our viewers out here who are watching on the stream on DLLS podcast, we appreciate you watching. Let us know what you think. Like us, subscribe to us. First base is in flux because of the Lowe situation.
Yeah, you know, he I don't know the nice way to say this. He needs to hit for more power, and he understands that. Like he will say, you know, if he's had a couple homers in a row and we ask him about it, it looks like you're feeling good. He's like, first base is a position where you have to slug, and he's not slugging, you know. And he did a couple years ago when he was the Silver Slugger. He hit 27 home runs. That's his career high. The rest of the time it's been 17, and this year he's just cracked double digits. You know,
11.
you while he's a very good defensive player, first base isn't like a premium defensive position. So you got to be able to do more. He's making $7.5 million this year. He's still arbitration eligible next year, but he's looking at a pretty steep raise. So the Rangers are going to have to weigh, is there value there? You know, the coaches are going to have to decide, can we get more out of this guy's swing? Because the raw power's in there. I mean, he had some of the longest BP home runs on the team. So, you know, the defense is going to be good. You can rely on that. Great, but he draws a lot of walks, which is good, but he's still got to drive the ball out of the ballpark and hit over the fence, and he knows it. So that's why I think it's in flux. That's why I think you'll see Foscue get a look at first base, Duran, and hopefully Blaine Crim. And the Rangers need to go into the offseason and get ready for free agency, not knowing how much money they have, but they need to know, like, how are we going to get better? And if first base is a place where they can do it, then maybe Nate Lowe's a guy you can trade and save some money there.
All right, so is catcher set?
I think so. I mean, Jonah Heim won a Gold Glove last year, so did Nate Lowe, but catcher's just a different animal.
It is.
You don't need as much offense from that position. Now, I don't think the Rangers should be convinced that he's 120 games a year catcher.
Yeah.
You know, there aren't many of those in the first place, but so do you want to re-sign Carson Kelly, who's seems like a great fit?
He's added so much offense since
he's been an offensive upgrade. Do you want to just say the health, and we're going to give Sam Huff a chance? Let him come up here, let him know that he's going to play 3 times a week, and good or bad, and see how that goes. But there are always catchers that are out there, but it's a little bit different now. If this season has told you that Jonah Heim is not going to be catching 100 games a year.
Mm-hmm.
If you want an even split of that, you got to get a guy who's guy. You got to spend a little money on that, or you risk having an Andrew Kisner situation, or Sam Huff, who's talented, hits the ball further than anybody in the organization, but who still is a work in progress. So that's another decision. But I think catcher's not in much flux as first base. They definitely need to have a better backup this year.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then how does the outfield look? I mean, is Wyatt Langford, Mike Trout sort of waiting to happen? And I don't want to put that on him, but you know what I mean. Is he your center fielder and your star hitter, for years and years and years to come? Are they gonna spend any time putting him out there in this month to see, where he stands as a center fielder?
I think he's okay in center. He's played it, the last few weeks, and Evan Carter's kind of the wild card, I think, to the outfield picture. Didn't play much this year. Wasn't very good when he did play. His injury had something to do with that, but he missed a year of development. Bruce Bochy has said it a couple times. He said it again yesterday. The worst thing about this is that Evan Carter didn't get a chance to develop. So he didn't get better against left-handed pitchers, for instance. Now he's a great outfielder. I don't think there's any doubt about that. He's center field is his natural position. Okay. But he and Leody Taveras both don't hit left-handers. So you can't have two of those.
Somebody.
You can't have two of those guys.
Yeah.
You can have one in left field who platoons, but Wyatt Langford looks like he is an everyday player. All right. And his defense, I think, has been better than they thought. We need to talk about his catch last night.
We saw last night. Yeah.
That's an example of that. Adolis Garcia probably back next year. You just chalk this one up as a crappy year and hope that he returns to the player he was last year. He doesn't even have to be that good, but he has to be a lot better than this year.
Yeah.
So you're going to pay him $9.5. He's, defense matters a little more in right field, especially with his arm. So I think he's there. So
is he a free agent after, or is he still got
one
more year?
One more year of arbitration after that.
Okay.
So, yeah, Evan Carter's the deal here. Bruce Bochy loves Leody Taveras. He gets frustrated by Leody's inability to have the potential that he did and show what he did last season. But defensively, man, Leody can go get it.
He can.
And if it's pitching and defense, if that's that's the Bruce Bochy mantra, he's going to want Leody Taveras on the roster, and it's not going to be expensive. So yeah, I think you could conceivably see Langford, Taveras, Garcia on opening day next year.
Leody also is a great ninth hole hitter too. He's had his ups and downs this season, no doubt, but last year he was you could always count on him. And he's capable of those big moments like we saw the other day. But I think one thing to just really hone in on is, the seasons that Heim, Garcia, and Lowe are having. You never expected all three of those guys to just struggle a little bit. I know Nathaniel Lowe, like his goal this season, maybe not this season, but in his career, it's to win a Gold Glove and a Silver Slugger within the same season, and it's not anywhere close to that this season. So just, again, we go back to the conversation of expectations, coming off of a World Series. Maybe it's the World Series hangover. But, is it too little too late? I don't know. The Rangers have won 7 of their last 9, 3 straight series. So, a 4-game series is a lot tougher to take away with a W. But it'd be a really good homestand, to lock down this Angel series.
It's a winning homestand if they split.
Yeah.
So if they go 2-2, okay, you hope you can do more better than that. The Angels are struggling and in last place. They're going to be throwing some young guys out at the Rangers, and they're where the Rangers were a couple of years ago. Just kind of putting the pieces together, seeing what they have, and Artie Moreno will spend a little bit more money than Ray Davis, or at least he's showing the penchant to. It's not always smart money, as Anthony Rendon indicates, but
yeah,
I know they got a good manager. I know Wash is a patient man and is trying to teach these kids how to play the right way, but this should be an opportunity for the Rangers to win the series.
Yeah, later in the program, we're going to talk more about Ron Washington, who will be in town this weekend, not just to manage the series, but for a very special event on Friday. We get to that story a little bit later on in the program. Of course, we're also going to get to your Wyatt Langford nicknames. But first, we want to remind you about Sleeper. Our great friends. Do you see the swag we've got on the desk here? Sleeper is coming through in a big way for you. You get a $100 first deposit match, up to $100, and that's free money if you grab the Sleeper app and use our code DLLS Rangers. It's such a great app. You think of it as a fantasy football or a fantasy baseball app. There's so much more to it than that, because you can, choose your favorite or your least favorite player, and you can go in there and say, well, is Wyatt Langford going to have more than 10 steals in this season, or is he going to have more than 2 hits in this game, or is he going to have less than that? And it's any player out there. It can be the guys you love or the guys you hate. Each one of them gives you an opportunity to make some money.
Yeah, and today's kickoff of NFL.
Oh my gosh,
the season starts.
Kansas
Kansas City and Baltimore.
And the Chiefs.
Yeah.
In Kansas City.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They talked about it on the Cowboys, I guess, but I'm going to go with the Ravens. I'm a little tired of the Chiefs.
Well, I'll say this. A year ago today, my Lions beat the Chiefs.
There you go.
They were on that Thursday night game a year ago today. So there you go.
Would you have liked to gone to that game if you could have?
Yeah, I really would have. That would have been fun. I will be going if the Lions make the Super Bowl.
Oh, you got to. I mean, long time coming, Rats.
Oh, my gosh. So long.
But
my entire lifetime.
If you need a ticket, I know a place.
Oh, please.
Game Time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Game Time is that's my MVP, to be honest.
Sure.
I like a good event, a concert, a sporting event, whatever it may be. And you know what? I like it a lot better at a good price.
Yeah.
Game Time offers the best deals, lowest price guaranteed. They also have game ticket coverage. So if, last minute something were to happen, you would be automatically refunded if the event were canceled. And sometimes tickets can be pretty pricey. So you want to know that money is back in your pocket. So going to a live event, living downtown, you kind of hear the ruckus at the AAC of what's going on. I'll just check and see if it's somebody I'm interested in, going to a concert maybe, and I'll just decide last minute, hey, Game Time decision. I'm gonna get a ticket. Yeah. And you can get a pretty good deal, and you can check. They have this cool feature. You can check out like a panoramic view, so you can see, where you're gonna
actually
see
your seat.
Yeah, which is nice. Have you seen those photos on Twitter of they're sitting behind a foul pole or just like whatever? So that will not happen with Game Time, but you can purchase a ticket with code DLLS. We've got it right there for you. $20 off your first purchase. So, we are the gift that keeps giving. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code DLLS, $20 off. Terms apply. Create an account and redeem code DLLS for $20 off.
You get some Rangers tickets for this weekend series against the Angels on Game Time if you'd like to do that. It is the LA Angels of Anaheim coming to town this weekend for a 4-game series. And, we're wondering, folks, there's a TBD on that pitching rotation for tomorrow night. We know who's pitching tonight. It's Cody Bradford. We know who's pitching Saturday. It's Jack Leiter. We know who's pitching Sunday. It's Andrew Heaney. What do you think?
Speculation begin.
What do you think? Rocker? Wyatt Langford. I like that.
That's a good one.
Wyatt Langford.
No, I've heard that one before. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, Mark, thank you for that one. You kind of brought it up, I know, somewhat almost facetiously last night.
Yeah.
Well, the stars have aligned. I mean, it's Rocker's day, and there's a right TBD. Would you like to see him? Personally, I really wouldn't. I think it's better for him to continue to develop where he is, but that's that sort of conspiracy theory out there, Jeff.
I like a conspiracy theory, and it'd be great. A lot of people would be happy to see that, but it's probably going to be Jose Urena, who's been really good this year. And will give the Rangers a chance to win the game. Rocker will be pitching in Las Vegas for Round Rock, his second AAA outing against the A's affiliate, and the A's have won the first 2 games of the A's affiliate, the Aviators. They've won the first 2 games of that series. Dane Dunning pitched last night. Okay. Ryan Garcia, maybe a name to watch. He's pitching tonight. He's been really good at AAA. Then Rocker, and then Scherzer. So we'll see what happens with Rocker. We'll be watching that probably more closely than we will be watching the Rangers game. No offense to Jose Urena.
Hey, I'm gonna be dialed in, Jeff.
And then, but yeah, Urena. Saturday's the one I think most people will be watching. Jack Leiter is scheduled to pitch, and hey, after what he did Monday night against the Yankees, I think people are probably expecting that to become the norm now. And there are going to be steps forward and step back, but I think he's got a baseline, and he's got some feel good right now, and I think he'll be good.
I think with Leiter, you saw that he can rise to the occasion. It's just you hope that he doesn't match the level that he's playing to.
Yeah.
Because he had, softer, easier teams in his last few outings. So I hope he rises to the occasion with it, no doubt.
Maybe they can put Trout in there. I know he's out for the year, but maybe they can put him in there. Maybe dust off Vladimir Guerrero, Torrey Hunter, and get them back. And hey, what the heck? Get Ohtani back. Maybe they can borrow him from the Dodgers for a game. Whatever it takes to get
a lot of scenarios
get Jack Leiter fired up. But I just think that he knows, he understands now. He saw it against the best.
Yep.
And if it works against the Yankees, it's going to work against the Angels.
Yep.
Well, get this. Cody Bradford, starter today. Over his last 5 starts, 2.61 ERA, 31 innings pitched, and 9 earned runs. So we've talked about Cody's season. He's not the fastest guy. I mean, he'll tell you himself he's not going to get guys out with speed, but his command is the thing that, makes him stand apart to me.
Yeah, John, I've tried to think of a good comparison for Cody Bradford, and while physically these two guys are completely different, Dallas Keuchel never threw the ball hard.
Right.
And was a fastball changeup guy. Won a Cy Young. He was pretty good, never throwing above 90 miles an hour.
Right.
So he had terrific command. That was the deal. I mean, you had to, and I mean, obviously he had stuff to go with it, but it just I've been trying to think of a comp or a guy who doesn't throw hard, who's left-handed, who got a lot of guys out in his career, and Dallas Keuchel I think is a good number. Now, Dallas Keuchel's about as tall as Abby. And Cody
Big
Bradford,
beard.
6'4", and but they're different physically, but their stuff's the same. And we've said it time and again, the way that Cody prepares, he gets better as the game goes along. He's unflappable. He might get hit hard, and he doesn't you can't tell what's going on inside him on the mound. Usually is quick to make an adjustment. So again, if Bruce Bochy and Mike Maddox love him, then I think the Rangers fans should love him.
Yeah, and what he's in the midst of right now is a stretch where the only other Rangers pitcher that has done what he's doing at the moment is Cliff Lee, right? So this is pretty good company, pretty rarefied air, and that is his number of strikeouts in his first 9 starts this season compared to the number of walks, and that is all about command. But it is interesting, Jeff, that those strikeouts are coming, even though, again, what he's doing is fooling people. He's not blowing it by people.
Yeah, I mean it is a throwback. It's in the era now where guys are throwing as hard as they can. Don't really, in some cases, if you ask Whit Merrifield, don't care where it goes. Hit a guy in the head, he gets to stay in the game and either throw a strike or hurt somebody else. But it's just not what you're used to seeing. It's don't want to say it's as good as Greg Maddux, but it's what Greg Maddux did. Greg Maddux didn't throw hard. He had terrific command, good stuff. So why can't Cody Bradford be successful?
Sure.
He knows how to miss. He knows how to miss bats and knows how to miss barrels. And the object of the game in an age where people love strikeouts, where strikeout is king, outs are still the king. It doesn't matter how you get them as long as you're getting them. And Cody Bradford's getting outs.
Yeah, if you watched the 9th inning last night,
oh my,
put that on a T-shirt. Gosh,
outs are still the thing. Yeah. I like that. Outs are still the thing because
it's the one that matters. Yeah.
That God bless him. Festa came in there and he got the first 2, right?
Right.
He got the 6 and 7 hitters, and then he walked 8 and 9, which of course is a cardinal rule of baseball. You don't walk the 8th or the 9th hitter, and then of course he walked the first hitter, and then out he went, and we know what happened next.
Yeah,
grand slam.
Yeah, we're trying to keep positive vibes today.
Yeah, okay.
It was a win.
You brought it up.
Well,
yeah.
Jeff
a
made
win's
a good
win.
A win is actually a win. No doubt about that. Let's talk about the flip side for the Angels today, because they have a 23-year-old on the mound in Jack Kohanowicz. He's making his 7th big league start, 4th since being recalled from AAA. He has practically switched to an all-sinker approach in his last 4 outings, which is kind of interesting because his first 2 starts he only threw it 49% of the time, but his last 4, 77.5% of the time. So, he's going to have definitely a different look than Cody Bradford, no doubt about it. But you're hoping, that the other guys in the lineup today, I haven't seen it yet, but if Zeke's in there or Foscue or Nellis, that's a different look for these guys to get more reps and not the standard approach.
Good job with the last name, by the way.
Thank you. I had to write it out.
Kohanowicz,
I had to write it out phonetically.
Yeah, it's all right. It's better than what I was going to say. So, these guys who have been in AAA have probably seen him, so there might be some familiarity there. But it's interesting the sudden change to the sinker. Obviously, he's developing. Maybe they saw something in the analytically that, hey, why don't you throw this pitch? Maybe it was just a better pitch against the 2 teams he's matched up against. But the Rangers has been chronicled throughout the year. They've had trouble hitting any kind of fastball. So I would expect him to be fastball heavy again tonight. But yeah, the A's, like I kind of said off the top, they're really searching for guys. The Rangers have their guys, and now they're looking at pieces who can help in 24 or 25 rather. The A's are looking for guys that need to be regular contributors either at the plate or in the rotation. And so they're giving old Jack K a look, and
Jack K.
I like it.
Tyler Anderson is going to pitch Saturday. He's the veteran, I guess, on the staff. So could see some young arms, which means there might be an opportunity to take advantage of that.
Well, and you could see a scenario that developed with Kohanowicz on the sinker, where Wash, if we know anything about him, he loves defense, and he especially loves infield defense, right? Well, what does a guy do when he hits a sinker? He grounds it, hits a ground ball somewhere. And so maybe Wash is like, man, this sinker's working, kid. And if you do it, then we get to go to my strength, which, I've been working with all these guys to get them playing some good infield defense. I mean, you could see a scenario developing with Wash like that.
Pitch to contact, that's still a real thing. And, quick innings, get your guys in the dugouts hitting again, keep the fielders active, don't walk everybody and lull them to sleep, because that affects their rhythm. And there is a such a thing as fielding rhythm. You gotta be on your toes. You don't want to be on your heels, screw things up. So those are things that Wash would preach way back when. So but still, there's the opportunity here, a good opportunity for the Rangers.
No doubt. And he's only throwing the fastball like 2.4% of the time.
Mm.
So, did you guys know that the Angels have homered in their last 7 straight games?
Ah, all right. Well,
okay.
So, I'm hoping that it's a home run party for the Rangers at home. I haven't heard much of the fireworks lately.
Yeah, well, you didn't hear any last night. There were no home runs last night. And then the home runs, I guess, the 2 notable home runs have been walk-off homers. So I guess maybe the crowd's
screaming.
Fired up,
yeah.
So the fireworks aren't don't penetrate your consciousness as much as they normally do. And they've been loud this year, the fireworks, real loud.
Yes.
Even John can hear them.
They turned it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Turned up the heat. But look, the Rangers have turned up the heat on this homestand. They've turned up the heat really in their last, almost 20 games now.
Since
we're talking about Yeah, we're talking about 11-5 in the last 16 games. So they've really been playing well, and they're facing a team, as Jeff mentioned, is just, they're floundering right now. You don't necessarily want to say they're struggling. They're floundering. They're searching. They're looking. And so, these are all important things to consider for a Rangers team that wants to win the series. Maybe sweep the series. What the heck? And then, boy, how good would the homestand
you
look
think they
then?
can do it?
Yeah, let's
put
think
it in
positive.
the chat.
Yeah,
are Rangers going 4-0?
Keep the Wyatt Langford names coming. We love those. We appreciate those very much. We want you to contribute and participate and have fun with us as we do the podcast. We've got past. We said past, present, future, big time past coming up next as
Walk
we
down
talk
memory lane.
Elvis Andrus and base running, because those two pretty much go hand in hand. The present comes into play too, because one of us talked to Tony Beasley today. But first, that same one is going to tell me and you how to get a job.
Well, luckily, I have a job that I really like. You want to know how I know that I love it? Rats,
because I work here?
Definitely, that's
It's
my number one
definitely
point,
you.
Jeff.
Yeah.
We were here 12 hours ago.
Yeah, I know it.
And guess what? We're back.
And we didn't just get here. We've been here
Oh,
a minute.
yeah. Oh, yeah. So we love it. We want you to enjoy and have the same experience. But we at Indeed, I say we, Indeed, they are driven by search for the better. So when it comes to hiring, they want to find a match. The best way to search for a candidate is really not to search at all. Don't search, just match with Indeed. If you need to hire, then you need Indeed. It is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data. And the matching engine helps you find a quality candidate fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. Indeed doesn't just help you. It helps you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites. So, in the minute that we've been talking about Indeed, there have been 23 new hires.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So,
good. I hope it's somebody I know.
You can get a $75 sponsor job credit to get your job more visible views at Indeed.com/AllCity. Again, we're the gift that keeps on giving. Just go to Indeed.com/AllCity right now and support our show by saying that you heard about it with Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/AllCity. Terms and conditions may apply. Do you need a hire? You need Indeed.
Indeed. And if you like hanging out in the outdoors,
yeah,
and you're tired of lugging around those heavy-ass coolers, you need to go check out Rugged Road. All right, Rugged Road, it's dedicated to creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers, for golfers, for
that one right there,
for anglers, for parents who have kids who are at the softball and baseball fields for multiple hours a day. The products are designed with the highest quality materials and craftsmanship, and they perform in tough conditions.
I got visual aids.
Look at what
these things.
have.
These things
stuff came in. This is in. We've got a Rugged
like a
Road
Tervis?
cooler sitting right here. This fits right inside. You got a nice water bottle. You got a basket to put in there.
Let's get a close up on that.
Yeah.
Can we?
Yeah.
It's
well,
fantastic. Visual aids.
That's one of the highlights here. It floats. All right. So if you're down floating the river or whatever, take your cooler with you. You're never going to lose a drink. It's lightweight. I don't know about you, John, but my son's baseball bag is heavy enough, and then I got to throw in this cooler that get us through a tournament day. Durable, dependable, and versatile. I mean, you can do it for, like we said, all kinds of outdoor activities. So gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road coolers. Reliable, durable, and built to be used. Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use the code DLLS for 10% off.
That's fantastic. I think it's a beautiful cooler too, and light. And they used to make fun of that one commercial they used to have, wheeled cooler man, and then you need a huge wheeled cooler for a pound of potato salad. Look, I don't like the wheeled
pound of potato
coolers.
salad?
Yeah,
was that
it's
like
a lot for a family reunion or something. I don't know. It was one of those one of the beer commercials. I don't know. We've got to get them. Let's get them sponsors too. Anyway, look, we want to talk about the present and the past in this segment, and they tie nicely together because just the eyeball test, Jeff, this homestand in particular, and maybe it extends to this stretch of games, because the stretch of, basically this 11-5 record goes back to the last road trip too. Maybe it extends to the whole thing, but certainly on the homestand, it has occurred to me watching all these games that there is more aggressiveness on the base paths. We're seeing guys go from first to third on a single. We saw Wyatt Langford do that twice last night. We saw Leody Taveras do that last night. 3 Rangers had steals last night. Travis Jankowski has surpassed 100 steals in his career. He's a game to steal every time he gets on base.
He's at like 102 since then, which was just a few days ago.
It's been fun to. I love that style of baseball. I love keeping that pitcher off balance that way. And it seemed to me in the beginning of the season that it wasn't happening nearly as much. Eyeball test is telling me it's happening a lot more now. The analytics people, they really don't like that kind of baseball, right?
Yeah.
There's not very many statistics that give us numbers to talk about that. But are you seeing the same thing?
I am, yeah, and again, it's just what my eyes are telling me in the box scores, I guess. But they have been a little more aggressive. You got to pick and choose when to steal. And Abby talked to Tony Beasley this morning about this, and
I got his quote.
Yeah, go ahead.
He said that they have had more opportunities to actually play the game as the offense has kind of hopped on base a little bit. They have more chances to exploit what other teams are allowing them to do. They haven't had enough base runners or a score that lends a chance for them to be who they want to be on the bases.
Yeah. So stolen bases are heavily dependent on how slow the pitcher is to home plate. It's not the catcher and how good an arm he has and all of that. It's how slow the pitcher is at first base. So if you see a guy like Clay Holmes who has a high leg kick and a long stride to the plate, you're going to have a better chance. And Leody Taveras stole a base in that rally that Langford hit the grand slam. So that's one thing. Opportunity is another. Marcus Semien, when he gets on base, Corey Seager's hitting behind him.
Yeah.
He's not going to steal a base.
No.
Because with Corey Seager at the plate at least, because he doesn't want to give the pitcher a chance to pitch around Corey Seager. You want Corey Seager to swing the bat. So there's opportunity there, but guys getting on base. Leody Taveras is one of the fastest Rangers. He needs to be on base. Wyatt Langford went through a stretch there where he was stealing a lot of bases because he's fast, and the opportunity, the game situation dictated that a stolen base would really be beneficial here. Getting to scoring position with 2 outs or 1 out, and a ground ball and a wild pitch gets you home, or no outs and a ground ball and a fly ball gets you home. It is playing to the game, and that's what you want to do as an offense. I know that there's a lot of slug, but still, you got to manufacture run. You got to have the ability to do that, and the Rangers last night did that because, again, 10 runs, no home runs. That was stringing hits together, being aggressive on the bases. They scored on a wild pitch, for instance. Nate Lowe scored on a wild pitch. And just moving the chain. And it's not always going station to station. That'll bog you down. Your Tigers teams that were really good about 10 years ago, they bogged down in the middle of the lineup because if Miguel Cabrera wasn't hitting a home run and he was on base, well, God, Victor Martinez was right behind him. Wasn't exactly fast.
No.
So that can really clog up an offense.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, you talk about sort of playing the game that's presented to you. We, of course, heard it for many years here, described in another way, and we're going to get to a lot of our favorite wash moments. Why don't you drop some of your favorite wash moments in the chat for us? But the way Wash would have explained what you just said there was, you got to do what the game asks you to do.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And the game, does earlier in the year, I love Bees' quote. The question we asked him was simple. Hey, are you being more aggressive? It looks like you are. And the answer was no, we're not. We're doing what we would rather do. This is how we want to play. Mm-hmm. But we haven't been able to play that way because we haven't had the opportunity. We haven't had the guys on base.
Well, with Wash, it's baseball. The players know it. Leadoff double. Next batter, hit the ball to second base so the guy can get to third with 1 out.
Yep.
And you'll see the guy, productive out, air quotes, and you'll see him high fives throughout the dugout. He did his job, or he did a job. So now you have one opportunity for a fly ball to get a guy home, or a ground ball up the middle. And And yeah, like the St. Louis Cardinals were so great at that in the middle 80s with the Vince Coleman and Willie McGee and Tommy Herr. And, the Rangers with Ron Washington were good about that. And one of the guys in the middle of that was Elvis Andrus.
Yes.
And, Elvis is going to retire tomorrow.
Good segue.
Going back to the past. And Wash is going to be there at the press conference with Michael Young. I'm sure there'll be a lot of yucks, but Elvis is the Rangers' career leader in stolen bases. He was a pest on the bases in the playoffs, and it was infectious. And it was the way Wash wanted to play. But, in one of the playoff games against Tampa Bay that first year in 2010, Vladimir Guerrero scored from second base on an infield ground ball.
And didn't Elvis score from first?
Elvis has done a lot of things, but
I think he scored from first on like a single.
Yeah, right. And some of that was Dave Anderson and Gary Pettis, the third base and coaches, being aggressive, and Tony Beasley's done at it, knowing what the outfielder has, seeing if he's throwing to third, or if he's throwing to second, and if he's taking his time. Last night it happened with Juan Soto, I think. Just kind of lofted it in. This was Langford getting a double, but still it happened in the opener with Aaron Judge on a ball to center field. He just kind of nonchalanted it into center, and I think it was Marcus Semien scored from first. So, there are opportunities to push the envelope, and Elvis Andrus, Ian Kinsler, Ron Washington combination really did that for those two great Rangers teams.
Yeah. And so you mentioned it. Elvis is going to retire a Texas Ranger. That part is not surprising. He tried to play again this year. He was with the Arizona Diamondbacks after finishing last year with the Chicago White Sox, and he didn't make the team out of spring training. But he has decided now to go spend a lot more time with his wife Corey and with their three kids, and he still lives here. He lives in Frisco, so it's awesome that Elvis is not only moving on, but that he's moving on as a retired Texas Ranger. And the thing you have to remember about Elvis, Jeff, is he's so high on so many lists, including games played. He's second only to Michael Young.
I think it was entering this year among active players, he had the third most games.
Yeah.
It was like him and Joey Votto, and I can't remember the other guy. I mean, he was durable. He didn't go on the injured list until he broke his arm that year in 18. That was his first time on the injured list. He had gone on the paternity list for Little E, his first child, and those were the first games he'd ever missed. It's remarkable for somebody to do that. I mean, how many times does John Gray go on the injured list?
Oh my God!
And Corey Seager for that matter. So he played a lot, got a lot of at bats, got a lot of hits. The average wasn't always there until those 16, 17, 18 seasons. But he was a good player, man, and a winning player. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. He was a winning player, and then a great clubhouse guy.
Yeah,
great dude. Yeah.
12 years with the Rangers, 1,652 games with the Rangers. I was taking a look at his baseball
number
reference.
2 all-time behind Michael Young.
Yeah, and his first year with the Rangers, he stole 42 bases.
Yeah.
2013.
Yeah.
Nobody does that anymore.
I guess for a while it went away. The last 2 years it's kind of changed, but because the rules have changed to benefit base runners. Yeah. But at a time when the game was not doing that, and I think it really put defenses in bad situations. You're putting pressure on people. They're making mistakes. They're losing track of things, and really the 10 and 11 teams did that. I mean, if the Rangers had won the World Series in 2011, the most important stolen base in Rangers history would have gone to Ian Kinsler in Game 2 at St. Louis, where he stole second base on Yadier Molina. He didn't steal on Yadier Molina. He stole it on Jason Mott, who took forever to get to the plate. But that was such a big run. The Rangers were down entering that inning. They ended up winning the game, bringing the series home. And that's probably Kinsler's most important steal of his career. And Elvis Andrus also scored a run that inning. So I mean, it was that was the microcosm of the team. Those guys get on. The guys behind him do something great.
Yep, they create havoc, and that's what good base running does. Of course, Elvis Andrus created havoc sometimes in the clubhouse, often in the dugout. And it wasn't, Adrian Beltre, we recently had a whole weekend to celebrate Adrian, and he talked about how Elvis annoyed him some. And it wasn't just, some of the antics with Elvis, touching Adrian's head or some of the outward things we saw. Elvis just never shut up in the dugout, Jeff. He was just always chattering, always yapping.
Yeah, and his English. He grew up in Venezuela. His English has been fantastic since day one.
Yes.
So he was always able to joke in Spanish with the guys from Latin America. He could joke in English with all the other guys. He was just a perfect fit. And Jonathan Ornelas is kind of like that. Jonathan grew up in Arizona in a Spanish-speaking household. He speaks English. You see him talking to both guys. But Elvis always had a laugh, always had a joke. He was usually the DJ, controlled the music in the clubhouse and at spring training. Just good vibes. He created good vibes. And we talked about how he helped bring Adrian Beltre a little bit out of his shell. And again, this team the Rangers had gotten old there in 2004 through 2008, and then you bring in Elvis in 2009, and it just kind of changed things up forever. And he'll be in the Rangers Hall of Fame. They could do it as soon as next year. Really,
yes.
I mean, he's retired now. They could get him in next year. I don't see why they wouldn't. He'd be joining his buddies, Michael Young, Ian Kinsler, Adrian Beltre, Josh Hamilton's in the Hall of Fame. I hope that if you're going to pick others from that team, I hope that it's Colby Lewis gets a shake. And honestly, it might make some people groan, but C.J. Wilson probably deserves to be in there. But anyway, and in a season that hasn't gone well after the World Series, it's always nice to look back at the good times. And 10-11 were great times.
They were fantastic times. They were the best times at that point in the long history of the Texas Rangers. So awesome memories of Elvis Andrus. We've got more memories coming up. Those will be of the great Ron Washington. Feel free to continue to drop your Wash memories in there. And we're going to get to that list of Wyatt Langford nicknames, too. We love some of the ones you've been sending in. Keep sending them. We will get to those in just a moment. But first, we want to remind you that you can, in fact, get some merchandise from DLLS. We've all been able to get our orders placed. Go to store.allcitynetwork.com and get your order placed. There are so many great shirts there. They're a fantastic fabric. They're so comfortable, and they have really cool designs. Of course, Abby and Jeff are both big fans of the Texas Chew. It's a picture of a piece of bubble gum, and it's got Texas Chew on it. I like that one too, but the one I love is the horseshoe with the Dallas skyline within it, and it's just DLLS.
Yeah,
but they have so many T-shirts, sweatshirts, hats are coming too. It's all part of our merch store that's online. It's on our All City Network website. So go to store.allcitynetwork.com and get all that merch for yourself, because you'll love it. Pretty soon, you're going to see a lot of people around town wearing this merch, and you're going to be like, hey, dude, high five. Hey, yeah, it's like you are the first so far to have discovered us, and you're going to feel really cool, like you're part of the in crowd if you're wearing this merch. Store.allcitynetwork.com for the best merch.
And if you're gonna wear the merch, you might as well become a diehard.
Sure.
If you're gonna show your pride in DLS, the ultimate way to do that is to become part of the community with our diehard level premium membership, so you get the exclusive content that's not available anywhere else. To do it, it's $79.99 a year, piece of cake. That's a $1 a month, basically.
Yeah.
Just put that, and you get a free shirt.
Right.
Every year. You get a free shirt every year. Yeah. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Free shirt of your choice every year. So you know what? These shirts are valued at $35. So you're spending $45 on a membership.
Yeah.
Basically, that's how you got to look at it. And but it goes beyond just that. You get 20% off additional merchandise purchases. You get 20% off our events that we're going to do. We're going to do stadium takeovers. We're going to do watch parties. Abby's lining up trips for people to take. I really think
I'm the event planner.
Well, you were talking yesterday about getting on planes and doing stuff.
Yeah.
I think spring training is the perfect.
Yes. Oh yeah.
The perfect trip would be the perfect trip.
Yeah.
Would be the perfect trip.
Yeah.
Anyway, you get a diehard card member. There's a lounge, the Discord lounge, where we can talk a little more freely than maybe we would here. And then you get an ad-free experience. There's so much to like about being a diehard. So, go to allDLS.com/join-diehard and get signed up, because we're starting to put stuff behind the paywall.
That was sales pitch of the year from Jeff, I think.
That was good.
That was good.
Yeah.
Well,
excellent.
Long way to go. It's only week 2, guys.
Yeah, well, it's good. We appreciate it. So drop us your nicknames for Wyatt Langford. We're going to get to those in a second. We do have Ron Washington coming to town. We've mentioned, do what the game asks you to do. Everybody remembers that's the way baseball go. So many fond memories of Ron Washington. Let us know what you think is your favorite. One of my favorites, Jeff, is his chat with Derek Holland.
Oh, in Toronto.
In Toronto, yeah. He had a little chat with him, didn't he? Yeah.
Well, and Derek had walked some guys. I think he might have walked the bases loaded. And Wash went out there. The Rangers were ahead. It wasn't much. Mitch Moreland did a home run, and I think it was 2-0. Anyway, that ended up being the final score, because Wash went out, and it was a very one-sided conversation. And really, depending on the angle, all you saw was Wash's head moving, and giving Derek a colorful way to get his stuff together. And honestly, Derek got out of that. It was like a 4-hit shutout. But he held the younger players to the standard of veterans, and he wanted them to understand what it took to be a Major League Baseball player. T.R. Sullivan, in the story he wrote for Rangers Today, that is now on the DLS website, Ron Washington saw one day Elvis Andrus outside the hotel in Minnesota get in a cab and not tip the driver, or get his bag out of the cab and not tip a driver. So Wash called him into the office and said, "You're a Major League Baseball player. You do not do that."
Wow.
Just standards and ways to learn how to be a professional. And Wash would take. I remember a game in Baltimore. Elvis made a bad throw. Wash took him out of the game. And he just did that with Zach Nito, the young Angels shortstop, who didn't cover second base on a play and then just made a boneheaded play in a big situation. Wash took him out. And afterwards, the reporters, the Angels writers, asked him about it. And Wash said he just didn't have his head in the game. And Wash will let you know, and he's not afraid to say it. And
it's few and far between these days.
It is. It's tough, but it's tough love. And I know Elvis Andrus appreciated it, and it made him better. I remember talking to him after that game and saying, he was right. I was not doing what I should have been doing. And it happened at other times with Julio Borbón in a spring training game of all places. And just the young guys can learn so much from Wash, who learned from some great players when he's in the Dodgers organization. He still has it too. He still has the passion and the desire. You can ask all these Braves players, either current ones or former ones, who've won Gold Gloves. Freddie Freeman says Ron Washington is the reason why he has a Gold Glove. Ozzie Albies is a Gold Glove winner. And really back to the A's days, Eric Chavez. And Mark Ellis would give him their Gold Gloves. And he lost them in Katrina because he still lives in New Orleans. But everybody. You get a chance to be with Ron Washington, he's going to help you, and you're going to end up having fun and loving it.
Yeah, and one of the other lasting memories of Wash is not only pitching BP, right? Which he would do here, but he'll get out there and he'll be fielding and working on fielding with the guys, and still does. I mean,
very hands-on guy.
He is.
Yeah, there was one day at spring training, he was hitting fungos to somebody. And I said, Wash, can you hit any kind of ground ball on command? He goes, what do you mean? I said, well, hit one in the hole. Boom, in the hole. Hit one that top spin up the middle. He was a wizard with a fungo, and he still is. He'll get down with these guys from me to you, and he's hitting them little ground balls, and then he moves them back. Then he hits them And he has a system. It's proven. It's worked. It's produced Gold Glove winners, and it's what he prides himself on it too.
Yeah, you trust Ron Washington.
Yeah.
If he says it, you're gonna do it.
He's a good third
with
base
a smile
coach
on
too,
your face.
in addition to being a great manager.
No, and that's the thing, and it's so wonderful that he has another opportunity to manage because up until Bruce Bochy was here, obviously you make the case that Ron Washington was the best manager in the history of this franchise. He took the team to 2 World Series back-to-back years. Obviously that has a lot to do with the players, but the manager has to do the right things. And to your point, Jeff, about how old school he is and what he does to the younger players and with the younger players, you really do need, and I hope the Angels have this, and I think they do, you need some veterans around to support what he's saying. Because, of course, a young player is going to be like, oh, yeah, I don't want to hear it, right? And the veterans need to corroborate, right, and need to reinforce that message.
And that first year in 2007, it was Mark Teixeira's team. And Mark Teixeira ended up getting traded. He had a run-in with Wash because Wash fined him because he missed a sign or didn't do something right, and Teixeira couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Teixeira was not on board with it, and it ended up ultimately it might have contributed to him getting traded. I don't think Ron Washington was like, you got to get rid of this guy who's an all-star and is going to hit 40 home runs, but there was something to it, and you hope that when you see Ron Washington and Bruce Bochy, the way they affect young players, you wonder what kind of effect is Bruce Bochy having on Wyatt Langford this year. And I think that the Rangers understood very, very early on, even before the season, that Wyatt Langford was going to have some speed bumps. And he had some. But I think the thing that Bruce Bochy did was he kept putting Wyatt Langford in the lineup.
Yep.
And I think that gave Wyatt a lot of confidence. And now I think we're starting to see it come to fruition.
Yeah, return on investment.
These last 2 games, holy cow!
Did you
save
see the
one
photo?
With the bat. Yep, save one with the glove.
Did you see the photo of Bochy hugging Langford after the walk-off?
Yeah.
Because it was so cool. Like, it's literally like future and then, past, present kind of thing. No, it was so cool for him to have that effect and share that moment. I mean, that was also the game that Bochy claimed number 8 all-time career wins. And, the rookie did rookie things.
Yeah, but you've seen him the last month, let's say, but especially the last 15 games really pick it up. And I thought he's always looked like he's okay, and there are just times he's at a disadvantage because he'd never seen these pitchers. But I think now, if he can, he wants to finish the season strong to have some good mojo going into the offseason. And I think this is kind of on the way to that. There's still 22 games left to go.
Yeah.
He'll probably play a lot of those, and hey, if he can keep it up, maybe he can win Rookie of the Month. He's not going to win Rookie of the Year, but there are opportunities for him to go into this offseason feeling like I'm in a good spot, and next year is going to be my year.
He can come into next year with a new nickname too.
Yeah,
we've got the list. We've got some names. I love Wyatt Langford. That's a really good one. Others on the list: Walk Off Wyatt, Wild Wyatt. I like this one. So does Abs. Quiet Wyatt, Wonder Wyatt,
guy.
Wyatt's World. These are all really good suggestions. We appreciate them coming in. But the Quiet Wyatt, of course, the play on the band Quiet Riot. And
I didn't even know that was your reference.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah,
I got
thank you. Quiet Riot, a little headbanging music for you. Abs. Check it out.
Their
Not
most
my cup
famous
of tea.
song is "Come On, Feel the Noise." So there's some.
There's
some. But I like Wyatt Langford's good. I like baseball Wyatt. If there's going to be hockey Wyatt Johnston.
Valid.
How about baseball Wyatt or Wyatt Baseball or something
Wyatt
like that?
Baseball's
he's
not
super
bad.
Gritty.
Donnie
plays
Baseball,
hard.
yeah.
Gets
I just call them quads.
Quads. I think my wife had picked up on something.
Quads
something
or forearms
about his lower half.
Yeah. Muscles.
Muscles.
Just
muscle bound.
Just.
Yeah. But again, I think Wyatt just kind of stands alone. You know, it's because
could become a one name guy.
But it's a 2 Wyatt town, so we got to figure that one out.
And they're both young. Because you can't even have like old Wyatt, young Wyatt.
No.
So baseball Wyatt and hockey Wyatt.
Yeah, it works.
I like it.
It definitely works.
Or puck Wyatt.
Time flies when you're having fun, man. We've been sitting here for an hour chatting with you. We love it. We appreciate you. We love all the chat. We love all the interaction you have with us. We ask you to like us. We ask you to subscribe because this is the new thing in town. It's DLLS. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. We've got the next couple of days where we're just going to be checking out the Rangers. We'll be back for a pregame show and a postgame show on Sunday. That's what we do. Last game of a series, you're going to see us here before the game and after the game. Jeff will be at the ballpark on Sunday for both of those shows. We'll be here, but we'll all be there all weekend long, hanging out with the Rangers and getting all this inside info for you. Thank you so much for watching today's edition of the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.